The Amazon rainforest, northern Peru, a place where the dense emerald canopy usually has a distinct hum, a symphony of life, a timeless rhythm. It's governed the lives of the Ikitu indigenous community for generations, but in mid 2023, it was shattered by an unsettling sound, whispers of the Pelacara, then screams of terror. This is a detailed story of the Altananai incidents. To get to the remote village of Altananai, it's a 10-hour boat journey from the city of Iquitos. This is required, literally there is no other way, 10 hours of winding rivers and dense jungles. The population is roughly 600 people, so it's relatively small. This is the heart of the Loreto region, northeast Peru. The Altananai district, a place where modern life is non-existent, and ancient ways are still carried today. The Ikitu people, they've been here for centuries. Their history has woven into the very fabric of the forest, living off the land and connected to the Amazonian environment in a way few outsiders can comprehend. Their existence is a delicate balance with nature, traditional practices, natural resources, sustainable living. It's not just a lifestyle, it's their survival. And with such ancient roots, they've got their folklore, tales passed down through generations, beings they called the Pelacaras. You translate that, it means the face peelers. Sounds weird, right? These are creatures described in their local stories. Associated with this very region, the Amazon jungle of northeast Peru, is a similar lore of a mythical entity that harvests organs and fat, a chilling detail we'll revisit later. A cautionary tale passed through the generations, essentially to keep children from straying too far, but in mid-2023, the Ikitu were about to find out. Nightmare folklore can become a terrifying reality. The first chilling reports, around July 11th, 2023, as deep twilight enveloped the village, casting long shadows from the towering trees, figures began to appear. Now, this made it very concerning. Their peaceful home was about to feel uncomfortable. These weren't your familiar jungle predators. No, this wasn't a jaguar slinking through the undergrowth. It sure as heck wasn't a black caiman lurking in the river. There was something else, though, entirely. Something that defied comprehension. Something that struck primal fear into the hearts of the Ikitu people. A fear even deeper than facing the most dangerous beasts of the Amazon. Fears we're talking about a jungle with some serious apex predators. Black caimans that live there can grow up to 20 feet. They're skilled hunters, capable of taking down deer, wild boar, monkeys, and even other caiman as well. Anacondas silently coiling, bush dogs hunting in packs. This isn't a place for the faint of heart. But villagers, they spoke of other beings not from this earth, beings that had immense stature, towering 7 to 8 feet tall. Imagine looking up and seeing something that size just standing there, and having the intelligence of a human, perhaps even more superior. A cold, calculating sentience. The villagers swore they were encased in a metallic silver-colored armor. They appeared utterly impervious to traditional hunting shotguns. Shotguns were the only weapons that offered protection to locals against jaguars and poachers. And literally shot after shot, they claimed simply bounced off this armor. But it was their movement that truly terrified. They didn't just walk, they pretty much just floated, hovering about a meter off the ground, often with an eerie red light emitting from their boots. All you heard was a distinct humming. Some witnesses even described them balancing with their arms and even moving through the air. An unnerving, almost in-tune glide with the sounds of a single hum, before vanishing as quickly as they appeared, leaving a trail of dread in their wake and a profound sense of helplessness. Their heads were described as elongated, not quite human, their faces hidden by long masks or even hoods, making them completely faceless. And what's even more terrifying, they had very yellowish glowing eyes that were completely visible in the dark, adding that the feeling of being hunted like a predator observing its prey under the cloak of night. These strange beings were not merely observed. Oh no, they were aggressive. As weeks and months went by, a recurring detail emerged, their ability to disappear and reappear quickly, often by ascending into the tree line or simply fading from view. The sense of dread stemmed from the unnatural appearance and movement, and these early sightings almost exclusively occurred at night. The cover of darkness was crucial for these entities, enhancing their mysterious and intimidating aura. Throughout mid-July to early August 2023, the encounters became more frequent, more overtly hostile. The beings moved from mere observation to active intimidation, and even physical assaults. These beings would sometimes come and harass the locals. They would create commotion with not a single word spoken. This amplified the sense of dealing with something beyond human understanding, an intelligence that seemed to toy with them. They taunt the locals, bypassing the early warning devices, crude but effective traps made from tripwires and noisemakers, setting them off not to capture but to alert and possibly immobilize. The locals would hear traps go off, investigate, only to find boot prints with a circular shape near it. They believed it to be part of the hovering system, and the locals knew not to trip these devices themselves. To prevent the locals from tripping the devices, village leaders quickly shared the information to all of the locals, making sure their children avoided every single one of them. As some were potentially lethal, designed to maim or even kill an unwary intruder, these beings knew exactly where they were and how to activate them, a chilling display of their cunning. But the most traumatic and widely reported encounter, yet another chilling reminder in the Amazonian darkness, no one was safe. This time, it was a 15-year-old girl. Talia directly attacked, her innocence shattered by the imminent danger, a truly horrifying ordeal that would forever mark the community. One night, the air hung thick and humid, a typical autumnal night. Everything quiet except for the gnawing, growling hunger in Talia's stomach. She slipped out of her family's hut, drawn by the promise of sweet, ripe fruit, calling to her hunger beyond their doorstep. The jungle, usually a comforting presence, felt different tonight. A pervasive, almost malevolent stillness. The kind of silence that dared to be broken by someone, by something. She reached for a low-hanging branch, fingers gently pressing the cool skin of fruit. In her eagerness, she fumbled. The fruit dropped with a soft thud onto the damp earth. Bending to retrieve it, her eyes and ears caught something else. The leaves beside her feet, untouched by any breeze, rustled violently, as if stirred by an unseen, unnatural force, a sudden, impossible disturbance. Talia's head snapped up. There, hovering just above the ground, a tall, imposing figure, easily over 6 feet tall, cloaked in what looked like a dark, form-fitted body armor. It glided on a disc, its arms swaying in an eerie, almost hypnotic rhythm. It maintained a precarious balance, a ghost in the gloom. Alas, the Pelacara is real. Before she could process the impossible sight, a cold, crushing grip clamped over her mouth from behind. Terror immediately flared. Primal instinct kicked in Talia, but it was too late. She started suffocating. She tried to scream, but the hand was too tight. It stole her breath. Her heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic bird trapped in a cage. Then another shadow detached itself from the deeper darkness, appearing with the same unnerving silence as the first, except this one moved in front of her, its hand seizing her legs in an iron grip. Still trapped and utterly helpless, Talia felt herself being lifted, hovering alongside her silent captors. They moved with chilling speed, soaring low over the village, a blur in the moonless night. They decided to land in a nearby chicken coop. As scared as Talia was, she couldn't help wonder what was next. They descended, landing with a soft thud. The chicken seemed to have a chilling silence this time. The second figure seemed shorter than the first. It pulled out a small pouch. From it, a fine glittering powder was poured into the palm of its hand. It mixed in a solution before Talia could resist. The needle was pressed against her nostril, and a burning, icy liquid shot up her nose. A wave of dizzying sedation washed over her. Her limbs grew heavy, her thoughts clouded, the edges of her vision blurring into a hazy nightmare. Through the encroaching fog, she vaguely registered the assailant producing a tube of cream. Its cool, greasy texture was then smeared methodically across her face. As the world swam around her, a voice cut through the haze. Low and guttural, it rasped in Spanish what translated into English as, be careful, Don't put too much, or you'll ruin her flesh. The words echoed in her fading consciousness, a chilling revelation. They spoke, and that's not all. One voice, deeper than the other, had a distinct gringo accent, and the other, shorter figure spoke with a clear native Peruvian dialect. It was the first known instance of these mystical figures uttering a single word. Deepening the terrifying enigma, what were they doing, and why were they there speaking of flesh? As the brutal scene of a memory goes on, a cold metallic object pressed against her skin, just beneath her jawline. Almost like a laser-like scalpel, she would later recall, it shot a beam of a thin, precise line of light. The figures were beginning their mysterious work, an incision with sickening ease. The horror was no longer just the sight of them, it was the violation. Now she wouldn't feel it at the time, since the cream started taking effect, as well as her adrenaline kicking in. In a last desperate surge of adrenaline, fueled by the primal instinct for survival, Talia found a hidden wellspring of strength. With a surge, she thrust her arm upwards, blindly targeting one of the assailant's helmets. Her fingers scrabbled, finding a slight grip, and with all her might, she tugged. Attempting to lift it, the figure recoiled, startled, frantic. In a momentary disarray, its grip faltered. Talia dropped, swiftly hitting the hard ground. The impact jolted her, awakening a raw, guttural sound from deep within her. A blood-curdling scream tore through the night. A desperate plea for help that echoed through the silent village. 20 seconds. That's all the time it took. 20 seconds from Talia's scream to the arrival of her brother and the quick reaction force of villagers. They burst onto the scene, their flashlights cutting through the oppressive darkness of the still night, illuminating a sight that confirmed their darkest fears. The Pelacara were real. The two assailants now bathed in the harsh glare of the flashlights. Abandoned by their efforts, with an otherworldly grace, they angled their hoverboards, ascending vertically and vanishing into the inky blackness of the sky. Just like that, they were gone. Talia lay there, a stark testament to the horror. Nasty, precise cuts marred her neck, demanding immediate medical attention. The injuries were undeniable, tangible proof of a physical encounter that defied explanation. Not a scratch from a branch, not an animal bite. They were precise, deliberate incisions, and especially from something, not from this village. This chilling event did more than just traumatize the community. It solidified their fear. It amplified their desperate pleas for external help. The Amazonian darkness had claimed another victim, leaving behind not just scars, but an unyielding dread that was embedded into every corner of Alta Nanay. Community leaders like Jairo Avila became the voices of his terrified people, their testimonies filled with raw, visceral fear. Avila himself recounted shooting at one of these creatures twice in a night with his shotgun, only for it to fall to the floor and quickly hover right back up, unfazed, disappearing into the night, just like most encounters. I mean, you can literally imagine the terror. Your most powerful weapon is considered useless against them. The Ikitu were deeply rooted in their cultural heritage and traditions. They struggled to categorize these invaders. Some describe them as Pelacaras, the mythical face-eaters from their folklore, creatures that harvested organs and fat. But the remote, isolated nature of Alta Nanay amplified their vulnerability. They were on their own, facing an enemy that seemed to defy the laws of nature and the limits of human technology. They were a lone community, under siege, forced to do night patrols while carrying their desperate pleas silently. As the days turned into weeks, the attacks continued, almost exclusively, you guessed it, under the cover of night, again, and again. The Ikitu community, though only armed with their rudimentary hunting weapons, understood they would not simply just wait for the next assault. They organized their own nightly patrols, a band of brave villagers venturing into the darkness, their hearts pounding, their eyes scanning for the impossible, yet the perceived invulnerability of the assailants rendered their efforts largely futile. Their fear was palpable, the disruption of their lives profound. Children could not sleep. Mothers remained vigilant through the long, terrifying hours of the darkness. The very act of living became an act of defiance against these beings. Desperate, the Ikitos reached out for help, their pleas echoing through the dense jungle and across the rivers to the nearest authorities. The reports of aliens' attack began to leak out, first through local radio, then quickly spreading across national and international media. The story was simply too bizarre, too terrifying to ignore, and far too weird to be normal. Because of them having grainy videos, allegedly of the hovering figures, alongside the frantic testimonies of the villagers, fueled a global firestorm of speculation, drawing in UFO enthusiasts, skeptics, and online conspiracy theorists like myself. In early August 2023, a team comprising members of the Peruvian Navy and the police embarked on a journey to Altananay. Their mission was clear: investigate the extraordinary claims, establish the truth, and crucially provide security to the community. The arrival of uniformed personnel brought the measure of reassurance, a tangible sign that their pleas had been heard. Yet the deep-seated fear lingered, evidenced by the continued, now somewhat less frantic, nightly patrols by the villagers themselves. The authorities began their meticulous investigation, gathering eyewitness accounts, inspecting the alleged attack sites, and attempting to piece together the puzzle. However, the official explanation from the Peruvian authorities suggested that these were likely gold miners, using advanced technology such as jetpacks or thrusters in order to terrorize the local population to protect their mining operations. Yeah, I know. They speculate that the gangs were using these devices to reach remote areas and scare away the villagers. An important note is the Altananay region is known for its gold deposits, and illegal mining is a significant issue there. But this story doesn't add up. Why would they want locals to move in hopes for them to continue mining and not think that they would ask for police investigation? Anyways, this seems very oddly bizarre. It's also true the authorities and governor of the state shrugged the situation off and played it as preposterous, pointing at the gold mining story as a definite narrative, so I guess case closed? In conclusion, I agree with the locals. Something definitely is going on, and bizarre is an understatement. I truly hope that these villagers receive the help that they need, but whenever it involves aliens, cases don't go always the way they want them to. That's the end of the show for today. Please comment below and share your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. If you like more content like this, like and subscribe for more. It would also help grow the channel. I appreciate your time. This is Sunny, your humble host. Operation Leaks, out.